Hi! Salut! Comment ça va? Ça va bien? Very good! Today we're gonna learn about le premier groupe de verbes. Le verbe du premier groupe. Have you ever heard about that? There we go! Okay guys, the number one things we need to know that French got three groups of verbs, okay? French has three groups of verbs, alright? We have le verbe du premier groupe, that's the first group verbs. We have the verbe du deuxième groupe, and then we have the verbs of troisième groupe, now the third verbs, the third group verbs, okay? But now in this video, we're going to learn about the first group verbs, we're going to learn how to conjugate them, and of course, in other occasion, we are going to continue with other types, the two last groups, okay? Now, the only things you need to know about these groups of verbs, that all the verb that finishes with ER, that ends with ER. Alright, okay, pay attention. All the verbs in French that end by ER, they are the verbs of first group, except the verb aller, okay, which is the verb to go, all right? It has a different manner, or that's in irregular verbs, okay? We're going to talk about that later on. But for now, we're going to focus on the verbs of first groups, all right? We're going to learn how to conjugate them, and we're going to learn the endings of the verbs. So, of course, we can apply that in all verbs that finishes by ER, except le verbe aller, okay? For instance, we have chanter, donner, pratiquer, travailler, dialoguer, manger. You see? Those are the verbs, the premier group. I'm gonna, drop on the comment section, on the description sessions, more verbs, okay, of the premier group. So you can train more about that. And of course, if you got any questions, do not hesitate to drop your questions on the comment section, right? Very good. So now we're gonna learn how to conjugate the verb. There we go. Now we got on, et, Vito, what are you talking about? What is this? All right? Those are the endings of the verb of the first groups, okay? The verb du premier groupe. Now we're gonna take one or two to learn how to conjugate them, and of course, we're also gonna make some emphasis. We're going to emphasize on the pronunciation, all right? So let's take the verb donner, all right? We have je donne la nourriture. Remember, I told you, when you are learning the verbs, you have to learn it together with phrases. Do not learn the verb just alone like this, all right? You have to put it in the phrase so that you can be used, of course, to know how to pronounce it, all right? Very simple. Je donne la nourriture à mon chien. Tu donnes l'argent à ton ami. Il donne la nourriture au chat. Elle donne, on donne, nous donnons, vous donnez, il donne, elle donne. You see? Of course you can complete, all right, the complement on the other forms, on the other person, right? Now, I want you to pay attention. The first, second, and third persons of singular, they have the same pronunciation, all right? For example, je donne. You see, je donne, tu donnes, il donne, elle donne, on donne, all right? The second one, it has an ES, all right? But I'm not going to pronounce the S, all right? All the verbs that, of the first groups, the three firsts are the same pronunciation. Je donne, tu donnes, and you have to pay attention. The E, you don't pronounce the E, A, okay? It's like, je donne. For example, je parle français, Je parle français. Tu parles français. Tu parles français. Il parle français. Elle parle français. Nous parlons français. Vous parlez français. Il parle. Elle parle. You see that? Okay, now, the two last one, right? The plural, it has also the same pronunciation. Il parle, elle parle. So, if we can summarize, the first, second, third of singular, and the two last of plural, it has the same pronunciation for both the singular and plural, all right? It's very, very good. It's very good, right? So just practice more, all right? I'm gonna do one more exercise about that, right? So I'm gonna choose the verbs. Can you give me a verbs? Okay, travailler, all right? Le verbe travailler, to work, okay? Je travaille, tu travailles, il travaille, elle travaille, nous travaillons, vous travaillez, il travaille, elle travaille. Alright? So singular, il travaille, plural, il travaille. Okay? Elle travaille, singular, elle travaille, plural. Is it very simple? Now all the verbs of the first groups, that's how you are going to conjugate that, alright? So I'm gonna drop down there, alright? More explanation so you can practice that, alright? Very simple. Very simple. Remember, this is the first group, okay, of verbs, and then we're going to learn about the second groups, of course, to learn some standard on how to conjugate them, all right? And then we're going to do more exercises to practice that, all right? And of course, we can acquire that once for all right? Very simple.